Welcome to the walkthrough for contracts video for PayFerral. A contract in PayFerral represents the agreement between the person giving the referral and the person receiving the referral in terms of what is to be paid if business is transacted. This is important to ensure no ambiguity arises as to what has been agreed upon. A contract is typically created when a new referral transaction is created. For example, if we click on the New Transaction button, and the specifics of this are gone over in the New Transaction walkthrough video, but let's say we started a new transaction, a new referral, and we picked a person. I'm just going to go into the referral database here and pick a guy, Jim Hines, and search for him, and he comes up. I select him. His information automatically populates this new transaction form. Then my information is shown because I'm the initiator of it, or the PayFerral, as that person's commonly referred to. And let's say this referral is for myself, and I clicked here. Usually, I put in the description of what I'm, what I'm looking for in the referral. But down here, if a contract already existed, it'd be in the drop-down menu, and actually we have 3 different ones that are here. But if one didn't exist, or if I wanted to create a new one, I could put in, a different amount, and let's say I put in $35 here, and I submitted this transaction. What would happen is this $35 referral fee with Jim Hines, who's the person I'm sending the referral to, would be created as a new contract. Jim would receive that information and either accept it or decline it, and then that would show up in my contract area. So let me show you how this works. We filled out the transaction here. I hit Submit Transaction. The service field, that just indicates what Jim's services are. He's a CPA. I'm going to put that in there. So I submit the transaction, and it indicates your transaction has been submitted successfully. Jim would get that transaction. As I indicated, they would either accept it or decline it. Let's say he accepted it. Now I go into my contract area here, and what I would have is Jim's contract information that would show up here, along with any other contracts I had with other PayFerral members. And if I ever wanted to reference those contracts, they're in this section here under the contract button. So that's one way of creating a contract, is through setting up a new transaction and selecting what you want out of the transaction, the bottom portion of the new transaction form. But the other way is to go into the contract area that we're in right now, select Create New Contract, okay, and then we can indicate if we're the payferor, person giving the referral, or the payferee, person receiving the referral. Either one can create a new contract. Let's say I'm going to put payferor because that's a typical way it's done. And I put in a new contract with Jim H, let's say. That's what I name it. My information's automatically populated here. That comes from my profile setup. And then I know Jim's user ID is this, and that's their email address. And I'm going to put in a different amount for a new contract, of $65. And then there's a disclaimer down here for PayFerral, just indicating that they're not representing this agreement. That's really between the two parties that are creating it. So no confusion would exist then. So then you hit Submit. This will then go to Jim, indicating, hey, I've got a contract I want to do with you. And then he can, again, either accept it or decline it. If he accepts it, it'll show up then in the contract area under his name, and it'll indicate what the amounts were. In this case, it would be $65 once he accepted it, and it would say what the status is. Right now, the one that I sent to Jim is in a waiting status. Here it is for that 30. Here's one for 65. I sent another one earlier, if you remember, when we filled out the new transaction for 35. So both are now in here waiting his approval. And he can come back to me and modify it to suggest a different amount. Then I have a choice of whether I want to accept it or decline it or modify it again. So that can keep going back and forth. But if he accepts it, then it'll show up as accepted. If he changes it and then I accept it, then it'll show up as accepted. So once one party accepts it, then it becomes official and it shows up in their contract area on this page here under the contract button.